Okay, here's a video with my initial thoughts on FC25. And for me, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's very disappointing. I'm currently playing the 10-hour trial version that's available on PS5. Obviously, it's gonna be the same if you play it on Series X or on PC. And yeah, it kind of feels like with EA when it comes to their football games or soccer, if you're in North America, it feels like it's one step forward, two steps back. Now, when I first played FC24, obviously that's when they changed it from the FIFA. That game in the beginning was really good because what I really did like about that is it did feel like they added some new animation in it and things like counter attacking against opposition teams was really great. So basically, the opposition team committed to attacking, and you were well defended with your particular team, you could hit them on a counter attack, and then get them on a break and then score a goal. And then when I played FC24 towards the end of the season, towards the end of the latter sort of stages of when they're going to release FC25. Obviously they've patched the game and done obviously changes throughout the game, and you couldn't do that anymore. And now we go to FC25. Now, yes, there are improvements in the game, and I think the biggest problem with FC25 is the actual gameplay, and it's just really janky, where it's kind of just all over the place. And considering that when I've seen the reviews of it, and it's been pretty damning, where the average review score for FC25 has been a 6 out of 10. And when I first saw the first couple, I thought, maybe it's just people just being disgruntled with the game, and it's a couple of people. But then as I started to check out more and more reviews of it, it was basically 6 out of 10 or even lower than that. And even people's venting out their issues with the game on social media. You get that every year with when it was FIFA and then now with FC. And I was, sometimes you just think sometimes it could be the fact that some people maybe just aren't very good at the game and don't understand it. But when you're hearing now, especially with FC25, the same issues the common issues that are coming up with regards what the problem with the game is, it's very, very telling. And considering that it's pretty obviously that they release it annually with their franchises, whether it's with FC24, with the NFL games, and with the Madden games, it's pretty obvious that all they're basically just doing is they're just using the same game, the game as from the previous game, and then just doing tweaks to it. So, for example, made a few years ago, I was lucky enough to play test one of the FIFA games, and obviously that's when it was still FIFA, and I can't remember which one. It may have been FIFA 23 or FIFA 22, I don't know. And obviously they put the watermark of my username in it, so basically I wasn't allowed to live stream or stream the game in any shape or form, because otherwise you'd be banned. And then you would give your feedback on what you thought of the game. And then when I downloaded it and I was given the code, and I obviously played as my team and the other teams, it was basically the new version of the game that they wanted me to test out. But the look of the actual game was from the previous season, or the previous game. So you can clear it, and then even certain players that maybe had left or been added to your certain team, they were from the previous season, but it was the new prototype that I was playing. So it's pretty obvious that what they are doing is that they're just getting FC24, tweaking it here and there, obviously adding animation and maybe improving the graphics here or there or whatever it is and adding new modes, and then just bringing out the new game. And considering that the standard edition for the game is, and it can be anything between £60 and £70, and obviously you've got the deluxe version, which is going to be a lot more expensive than that, pushing probably near enough to £100 in the UK. That's very expensive, and that's why I don't buy the games every year. And I know that's difficult, where there are a lot of people who are really into the football games. I am, and I used to be into FIFA. I was into FIFA hardcore decades ago, and I would buy them every year because I was really into it, and it felt like for some of the games they were actually making changes. And then after a while I just got tired of it, even though I actually love playing football, or I used to, and I used to love watching, or I still love watching football, and I used to love playing it, whether it was with the FIFA games or the ISS Soccer that was on the Nintendo consoles, the PlayStation consoles, and the Pro Evolution, where I think Pro Evolution at one point, when it was in the PlayStation 2, was absolutely beating the FIFA games, and it's a shame where that's gone now. Obviously, it's gone to Esports now from Konami, so it's a free-to-play game. So, and then obviously they didn't have all the licensing with it comes to the cups and the teams and the players' names and modes, and that kind of what, you know, kind of ruined the Pro Evo series before it became the esports. But and then obviously you couldn't have the official kits on with the Konami games, but there were ways how you could look online and get patches to download into your game so that you could have the proper kits, because somebody out there would spend all that time modifying all the team's kits to look like the proper kits, and then you just download the data, and then you don't have the proper the proper kits for your teams. But obviously that's all gone, but that's near here or there. The graphics for me are kind of hit and miss, because so more and more of the players now, for example, with my team Tottenham, a lot more of the players look like who they're supposed to look like. So Son always looked like Son. Although in the previous couple of games, it looked like him, but his face looked a bit chubby. And in FC24, it looked more like him. The hairstyle was kind of right, but the actual hair felt like it was just plasticine, like it was one big mold. Now what they've done with players with straight hair, you can see the individual strands like moving almost sometimes too much. So with Son, it looks a lot more detailed with him and his hair, and with players like Maddison, all players that have got long wavy hair. And another improvement is a player, for example, Papa Matasar. Last season in the FC24, it didn't look like him. It just looked like a generic black guy, which I'm black myself, so I made that known, so people don't think I'm being dodgy. But in this FC25, it looks pretty much spot on. It actually does look like Papa Matasar. Unfortunately, this is where the kind of graphics are hit and miss. You've got players like Johnson, who Brennan Johnson, who you can tell it's him, but it doesn't look like him, and it pretty much looks like a slightly more detailed model of the Brendan Johnson from FC24. So it doesn't look like him. So I guess by the time it gets to FIFA 26, oh sorry, FC 26, it's going to look more like him. And this is kind of the problem where certain players don't look like how they're supposed to look like. Players like Dragusin, who plays in defence for Spurs, looks like his actual real life character, right down to the hairstyle, right down to the hairline. Looks exactly like him. Van der Ven looks like him. The goalkeeper now, although in the previous version it did look like him, now looks a lot more like him now in terms of the actual detail. And as I said, certain players look more detailed, but certain players just don't look like how they're supposed to look like. In the replay of FC24, sometimes the players would look, when they're moving like they're running backwards or they're turning in the replay, especially if they've missed a shot, it would look very robotic for some strange reason. And this doesn't look so bad, but it could be a lot smoother. Another problem I have is with the body shapes. Yes, in terms of the heights of the, obviously players are going to be different widths and lengths, and they've always got the heights of the players right. Unfortunately, when you look at the players' torso, it looks like the players are wearing a corset. So it's like their sides of their hip, of their the diaphragm from the side has been squeezed in. So it's like it looks kind of, their body kind of looks, just doesn't look right. Our manager and Postecoglou, facially and the hair, again the hairstyle and the actual individual hair looks like him, but trying to be kind there about Postecoglou, but he's kind of a bulky kind of a guy. I'm not trying to say he's fat, because he's bulky, but in this he's too slim. And then again, they don't kind of get that kind of, for me, kind of right. The crowd animation, when you see it from a distance, so you got these thousands of people in your stadium, that looks great. Unfortunately, when they do like a replay, when you're seeing the crowd reacting, the crowds just look terrible. They look a little bit better than they did last in FC24, but they just look terrible. And again, I know that the whole main emphasis is on the detail of the actual characters of the football players, but again, this is for when you've seen the thousands and thousands of the people in the crowd from a distance. That's fine. It's just when you see it from kind of a close up where it's kind of wrong. The game's full of bugs, in my opinion, where there's players slipping all over the place. Sometimes when you're doing passes, it's like you're playing ping pong or table tennis. And all players tripping over or fall over the floor, can't seem to be able to keep hold of the ball. Even like things like, again, this just comes to the gameplay, passing on the game is kind of all over the shop, where even doing a simple pass it feels janky. And again, sometimes you can overcook a pass or you can undercook a pass, same for a shot, and that can be your fault. But it just feels really weird, and it's like, I know I'm not completely articulating myself in terms of the gameplay, but it just feels really off. And if you look at if you just type in say people's reviews or issues with the gameplay with FC25 at the moment, because obviously these things could be patched during the season, and toward the between now and obviously the end of say July, and obviously they're going to be working on FC26. Games could be patched, but it's just disappointing that you see all these problems and things. Players like Van de Ven, who is meant to be one of the fastest defenders in the Premiership, and we've seen him create 2 assists where he's run literally 80 yards. He's done this twice. Run and then play, and because he's so tall and so strong and he's quick, players can't catch up with him. And then when he's having to run back into defense, because he's so quick, he can run back and take the ball back off of the opposition. And for some strange reason, Van de Ven is really, really, really slow, and I just find that really weird, and they can't even get that right. And again, I thought that was just me, but when I've seen other people do their thoughts on the FC25, and they're not necessarily Tottenham fans themselves, and then other supporters of other teams in the Premiership, they've said the exact same thing. So at least I know that it's not just me that has an issue with it. The commentary just feels like it's cookie cutter paste from the previous FC24, where they just repeated the same thing and not actually saying any new commentary or saying things to kind of freshen it up. And sometimes to what certain actions that are happening on the pitch, whether it's you or the opposition team, the people who are doing the commentary, they actually sometimes get it wrong. So they'll say good tackle from the opposition team, when all that's happened is that you've just undercooked the actual pass, or you've done a shot and it's saying the wrong thing. And again, I thought that was just me, and I've looked and read what other people have said or videos, and people have said the exact same issues as to what I've said with this FC25. And to me, as I said earlier on in the beginning of the video, it feels like it's 1 step forward, 2 step back. The modes that they've got available in the game are kind of really great. So you've got the career, you've got the Champions League, and all types of different modes, which I haven't tried it because obviously I'm only paying the 10-hour trial, which I've got less than 4 hours left. And I wasn't even considering buying the game myself, because although I don't buy the games brand new every year, because I've been getting quite good views on my gameplay videos, I'm thinking stuff, maybe it might be worth the actual investment. But because of the gameplay and the bugs in it, that's kind of really put me off, despite the fact that it would create good viewership for my YouTube channel. And it's particularly the amount of money that you're gonna have to pay for it, because I know what I could have got it a little bit cheaper with a voucher that a seller had, which I could have used to get the game a little bit cheaper. And maybe if I had used it and got it for that price, what I could have done, maybe it would have justified it, because despite the problems and knowing that they might, hopefully will patch the game. But it's just, for me, at the moment, for me, I can't recommend, for the price that it's at, it's for me, it's I can't recommend the game at the price that it's at, at the moment, um, for the price that they pay for it. Even if you're a hardcore FIFA FC fan, or maybe you have kids that want the latest version of it, and it's only, and I think some of it doesn't help by the fact that EA don't have any competition, where they're the only people that are making football games. And obviously with getting all the license, because obviously with the Pro Evo games back in the day, they didn't have all the names and the names of the teams and the proper kits. Only certain teams did, if they obviously officially endorsed it. And with the fact that EA have got all the things like the Champions League and the FA Cup, and then they've got the authenticity of the managers and the likenesses and some of the players and the actual football kits, that for some people, you know, that they want the authenticity of having the full proper experience. We got the right names of the teams, the stadiums being authentic, the different football kits and the different away kits and the home kits, and you know, and having the all the molds and playing in Champions League and the Korea, and all the different molds are available. So people are going to want, so that's why people gravitate, and it's difficult to pay all that money to get the official license of over that. We know that the EA and the FIFA obviously split, so that's why it's called FC now. But for me, it's kind of at the moment, unless things change, it's to me kind of a huge kind of a disappointment to me. And it's a shame that I support that they can't take a year off, or you know, so they can really build upon the game, or have some real competition, so from other game companies, and then they have the full access to the actual authenticity of the kits, the players' names of the stadiums, the managers, etc., etc. Because then I think it would give each other competition to keep the developers keep them on their toes. And all these new and then another thing that EA keep giving their game, like if it's fancy animation or AI, they keep giving it all these fancy names like high promotion. And it's just another way of just basically saying that they've added extra animation to the actual player movements, and so it's quite high promotion, so it seems all posh. So, and things like now, before you see, and when it's the high promotion, you would see it from the perspective of the referee giving the card to a player. Now they've changed it, so now you see it from the perspective of a substitute that is coming on. I mean, you see obviously the player coming off, high-fiving the players about to come on, and then you see it through the eyes of the substitute coming onto the pitch. And then you obviously see it from the manager's point of view, and some other, it's just, I don't know, it's just, they're all trying to make it all fancy, and I just wish they would sit there and spend more time in you know, fixing the actual AI app, the actual game, and more importantly, the bugs with the game, and the commentary, which is getting a bit boring and not getting that right. And then also trying to think with things like getting players attributes right. So for example, like with Van Ven, because obviously you got players like, for example, Haaland that plays for City, and he's a really tall, big, bulky, brute of a player. So when he's running at you, he's pretty quick for someone of his size, but he's really strong. So to try and get the ball off him is going to be extremely kind of difficult. But in this, they kind of don't get it. They don't get players' attributes kind of right. Or for example, players like Jermaine Defoe, who's got a short he's got a short center of gravity, was short, so he could zip in through players because he was so short and so short and so quick. But they don't do that now, and players just seem to slip around and trip and fall over the place. But the biggest problem for me at the moment, initially with FC25, is the fact that the player is the gameplay. Although they've replaced the Volta game mode with the game called mode called Rush, but the only negative with that is that you've only got one stadium, and that's basically all you kind of get. So it would have been nice if they could have freshened up the Rush mode, where you could play in different stadiums and then do some alterations to kind of freshen out mode. So with Rush, they've kind of done a good thing with that mode, but not done enough. But yeah, I really hope for the price that you're having to pay for FC25. I do think that that game really needs to be patched. But I guess I said before, at the moment, my initial thoughts are that I kind of can't recommend it at the price that it's at, and it really needs to be patched at the moment. So maybe if I do buy the game later down the line, or the next couple of months, then I'll do a follow-up video, and if they've done any changes, and I'll do a more in-depth on the different modes on the game. But unfortunately, it's a bit difficult to do it with the 10-hour trial, which I've only got less than 4 hours to go. So let me know in the comment section about what your thoughts are with FC24, whether or not you agree or disagree with me with the problems, with the pros and cons with FC25 currently at the moment.